Hi. Welcome back to the Bright Path Podcast. It's your girl, your bestie, your resident reality shifter, Kimberly.
Let's light the way, dream it big, don't hold back, let your colors shine. Every step you take, you're rewriting your own line. Turn the page, make a change, let your heart believe. The life you want is closer than you think. Just breathe on the bright path. We're dancing in the sun, manifesting dreams. Yeah, we're getting things done. Every episode a spark, a brand new start. Building a life that's brighter than your world is. Laugh it off, shake it out, let the worries go. Every little win and there's a seed you
How are we feeling today? Are we vibrating high? Are we claiming it? Or, and be honest with me, are we spiraling just a little bit in the McDonald's drive-thru right now? So today we're talking about how to stay open to romantic love without reopening the same wound and without manifesting another emotionally unavailable man who thinks consistency is a personality flaw. So, quick recap. Let's remember, you didn't lose your mind, you loved an avoidant, or a narcissist. We might as well throw in all the terms, because if you're here and you're listening to this, chances are you've had some really bad experiences in love, and we're gonna fix that. Also, to recap, it hurt because your nervous system was handed chaos and was told to call it chemistry. So now, we ask the real question, how do I still want love without spiraling, chasing, or betraying myself? Because I don't want to become numb. I don't want to become hyper-independent. And I definitely don't want to heal so hard that I turn into a beige wall. And you know, the trend right now on social media, TikTok, Instagram, is basically that women just simply don't want to date anymore. We don't want men anymore because they're not serving us. You know, all the memes about princess men and men who want to be chaste, but they still want a feminine woman, but they're not willing to step into that male role. So this is definitely a problem, but we are going to dissect that and talk about it in today's episode. So buckle up. So here's the bind that women end up in. If I stay open, I get hurt. If I close off, I'm lonely. If I desire, I attach. If I detach, I feel dead inside. So we oscillate. One week we're this divine feminine goddess who's manifesting love. The next week we're swearing off men, we're burning sage, we're swearing off romance forever. This is not a character flaw. This is an unregulated attachment system trying to protect itself. Here's the part no one tells you in manifestation spaces. You cannot manifest securely from a nervous system that doesn't feel safe. According to attachment research, the primary human drive in relationships is not romance. It's safety through proximity. So when your body associates love with unpredictability, emotional withdrawal, sudden loss, your subconscious goes, cool, so love equals danger. And then so you try to manifest love while your nervous system is hiding under a table. So this is where people misinterpret manifestation, because assumption creates reality, not force, not obsession, not wishful thinking, not desire, assumption, meaning what you assume to be true about yourself becomes your lived experience. Not what you chant, not what you robotically affirm, not what you desperately want. It's what you identify as. Most women are trying to manifest a specific person by assuming this identity. I am someone wanting to be chosen. So even if they're saying affirmations like, I am loved, I am desired, underneath is still the identity that says, love is outside of me and I hope it comes back. And their nervous system hears, we are incomplete. That assumption creates longing, not love. That's why you keep feeling like it's never coming, like you want this specific person in your life and it's just not happening. This is why manifestation videos sometimes feel like, just assume he's obsessed with you. Babe, my body is assuming abandonment, not devotion. Here's the sequence that actually works. Step 1 is not visualize him texting you. Step 1 is teach your body what relational safety feels like. because you cannot assume safety if your body has never experienced it. That's not spiritual failure. That's biology. Neuroscience shows that the brain prioritizes familiar over healthy. Familiar chaos feels safer than unfamiliar calm. That's why boring men feel very unattractive at first. Our nervous system is like, where's the anxiety? I need context here. In psychology, the feminine principle represents containment and receptivity. Containment means you can feel desire without chasing it. You can want love without collapsing. You can stay open without bleeding. That's goddess energy, not waiting, holding. When you embody this, your assumption shifts from, I hope I find love. I hope love comes to me. Your assumption shifts from that to love meets me where I am. Neville Goddard didn't teach pretending. He taught identity rehearsal, meaning you don't imagine the text message. You imagine being the woman for whom love is steady. You're calm, unrushed, unconfused. So that new feeling becomes your baseline. And then, and this is key, you stop tolerating dynamics that contradict it. Which is when emotionally available men suddenly disappear. Not because you manifested them away, but because your nervous system stopped applying for chaos internships. Now let's talk about specific person manifestation without losing our minds. Manifesting a specific person does not mean waiting, watching, obsessing, or decoding Instagram likes. It means shifting the assumption. So you would say something like, I am someone who experiences mutual desire and emotional availability, whether that's with the specific person returning differently or someone new showing up better. The identity has to come first. Neville would call this living from the end, not the end of a person, but the end of lack. If someone must violate your nervous system for manifestation to work, that's not alignment. That is self-abandonment in spiritual packaging. The goal is not to stop wanting love. The goal is to want love from wholeness, not hunger. To desire deeply without shrinking, without chasing, and without confusing anxiety for passion. That is feminine power. And in the next episode, we're talking about how to recognize real attraction versus trauma chemistry so that you don't mistake intensity for intimacy ever again. You all deserve safety and spark. You're not manifesting love wrong. You're just learning how to let it meet you safely. Listen, if you've been manifesting like a boss and everything is perfect, you're dismissed. But if you've been persisting and then you spiral and then you think you're doing it right, but the 3D reality is looking a little sus, then this is for you. You know that feeling? You're on the verge. You feel it. And then splat, you slip. You go completely clueless, like literally, as if, and you ask yourself, am I even doing this right? If you're nodding your head right now, don't worry, I've got you. Today, we're going to fix the struggle. I want you to have it all. We are going deep today. We are breaking down the logic, the doubts, and yes, we are talking about manifesting whatever you want, including that specific person who seems to have fallen off the face of the earth. Why is persisting so hard? Why do we wobble? It's usually 3 things, but the main villain, it's your logic. So, first thing, we are going to stop building the bridge. Reason number 1, you're not manifesting what you want. Bridging. I'm specifically talking about law of assumption because I think this is where a lot of people struggle. In law of assumption, we say that you need to live in the end, right? But our brains are control freaks. So let's just say you want to manifest a Lamborghini. Your bank account is currently looking like crickets, all right? But you're trying to manifest. You say, I have the Lamborghini. Every time you're driving your little Nissan Sentra, you're pretending you're driving your Lamborghini. But your brain goes, excuse me, check the balance app, sweetie. You do not have a Lamborghini. So what do? You try to help the universe out. You start bridging. You think, okay, All right, so I don't yet have the Lamborghini, but maybe if I get that bonus at work, or if I get another job, or if I win the lottery, or if somebody sends me money, then I will get the Lamborghini. Stop it. Just stop doing the universe's job. When you do that, you aren't living in the end of having the Lamborghini. You're living in the end of needing a specific incident to happen to get the Lamborghini. You're literally micromanaging God. You're telling the universe, hey, I know there are 100 ways for this Lamborghini to show up, but I'm going to force this one way because my logical brain can't handle the mystery. I know it's hard, but don't bridge the gap. Just go to the finish line. Who cares how it gets there? That is not your department. Leave it to the universe. There are hundreds, if not thousands, if not millions of different pathways you might not even be able to see yet. And I'm not going to sit here and list them all because I don't want your logical brain to pick and choose and say, oh yeah, that sounds like the most reasonable. Because again, it doesn't matter how it manifests. What matters is the end result, that you are happy driving that Lamborghini. So let's talk about reason number 2. You have doubts that are disguised as insecurities. This is a spicy one. Let's talk about love. So let's say you have a specific person. They're cute, you're cute, no big deal. You start living in the end, assuming that they love you, and it feels amazing. But then the 3D reality decides to give you a pop quiz. Suddenly, a new character enters the chat, and this person has one thing you're insecure about. Maybe they have perfect hair, or they're super funny, or they have, I don't know, a jawline that could cut glass. And suddenly, you aren't living in the end anymore. You become the elder child of jealousy. You're obsessing. Oh my God, look at them smiling. He likes her jawline better. I hate my chin. He liked her picture on Facebook. He must like her type better than he likes me. Listen to me closely. When you focus on that insecurity, you are manifesting their connection, not yours. You're putting so much emotion, anxiety, panic, jealousy into that scenario that your subconscious mind goes, oh, she feels this strongly? It must be true. Let's make it happen. You have to keep that same energy for the good stuff. If you want the relationship, you need to feel the happiness and the calm now. Even if a supermodel walks into the room, you are the prize, period. Okay, so let's pause for a second. I need to interrupt our scheduled programming for a second because my DMs have been flooded with this question. The extreme circumstance. Everybody in my DMs is like, oh, but my circumstances are so extreme. And what if my situation is so much more extreme than someone else? What if my specific person isn't just a crush? What if we dated? And what if we had something? And what if we're in no contact? What if I'm blocked? What if they live in Antarctica and they said they never want to see me again and they're literally repulsed by me? What if there's a third party? And what if they got married to the third party? I hear you. And I'm going to tell you something that might sound crazy to your logical brain, but it is the absolute truth of the law. Circumstances do not matter. They don't matter. Here is how you manifest a specific person with extreme circumstances using the law of assumption correctly. You have to understand that the extreme circumstance is just a story you are telling yourself based on the past. You have to first understand that the extreme circumstance, and I'm saying it in air quotes, the extreme circumstance is just a story you are telling yourself based on the past. If you are blocked, that is a digital hallucination of your old beliefs. Most people start to fail here because they check the 3D almost constantly, or in other situations, they waver back and forth. So they believe for a long time, they build themselves up, but they're not seeing any results. So they look at their current 3D reality. They check WhatsApp, they check Instagram. They see the blocked status and they accept it as final. But in the law of assumption, we need to deny the evidence of the senses. If you want to manifest them back from an extreme situation, you have to be delusional in the best way possible. We talk about that a lot here on the Bright Path podcast and in my course, Goddess Level Confidence and Your Goddess Glow Era, that Delulu is the Solulu. And a lot of master manifestors will absolutely stand by that truth. So being delusional means you have to revise it. So when you think of them, you can't think of the blocked version of them who was disgusted by you and blocked you everywhere and said they never want to see you again. And then they moved to Antarctica and got married, decided that they just want to stay with the penguins on Antarctica and they just love it there and they have no internet and they're just happily married living amongst the penguins in Antarctica. You cannot think of that version of them anymore. You have to think of the version of them that's blowing up your phone right now. And again, you guys, you need to take time. Like if you're on YouTube and you're watching all these videos that promise that by the end of the video, your specific person will be blowing up your phone, you can't put a timestamp on it. Remember, your thoughts create the wave. So think of it as an ocean. If you're on a boat, no. If you're on a yacht, let's say you're in like a sparkly 24 karat gold yacht in the ocean. The yacht creates a wave. Well, how long does it take that wave to reach the shore, right? Depending on how far out you are. So if your circumstances are that extreme, that means you must be a far way from the shore, but you can still create a wave and you have to wait for that wave to get to the shore. Now, in the law of assumption, that's called the void, where you'll feel this void as the bridge of events is being created. According to the teachings of Neville Goddard, it doesn't matter if one person has to move to make your desired reality happen, or if 1 million or 10 million people have to move to make it happen, the law will make it happen. We also call that time we're in the void, in the law of assumption, that void where we're actually just, I don't even want to say waiting because it's not waiting. So after you set your intention and you hold your belief, there is a period of void that nothing happens because the bridge of events is being created behind the scenes to make your desired reality happen. This period of time can also be referred to as the Sabbath. Now, in many religions, Sabbath simply means the day that God rested. You need to rest. You cannot just constantly keep checking and trying to figure out if you can manifest it a different way. If you keep on doubting yourself and your abilities, you need to work on your self-concept a little bit more and get more confidence in yourself and your abilities. And don't try to change the third party in your 3D reality, in your current 3D reality. Instead, keep going to the end. Just go to the end where you and your specific person are already together. You're laughing about how crazy it was that you spent any time apart. Just imagine something very mundane because the universe loves boring, mundane, and so does your brain. So just imagine that you're sitting on the couch, again, something mundane. You're sitting on the couch with your specific person, eating pizza, and you just say to them, remember when we had that big break? That was so dramatic. That was so stupid. Like, why was that even a thing, right? And they laugh along with you and they say, yeah, I can't believe I stayed away that long. I missed you the whole time. I'm so glad we're back together. That was so stupid and I'm never going to let you go again. Do you see what I did there? I didn't try to fix the block. I didn't try to imagine how they were going to unblock me or how they were going to start talking to me again. I just jumped to the timeline where the block is just a funny old memory. And if you keep persisting in that reality, the 3D has to rearrange itself. The third party will dissolve, the block will lift, the distance will shrink, but you can't waver. You can't be the victim of the circumstance. You have to remain as the operant power. Okay, so pivoting back, we talked about logic, we talked about specific people. Let's talk about comparison. I get so many messages about physical changes, height, eye color, glow-ups. So let's talk about how to manifest changes in your appearance. And for this segment specifically, just as an example, let's talk height. So I don't care if you're 25 or 45. Stop looking at tall people on the street and measuring yourself against them. When you do that, you're affirming, I am short. I am small. Stop Googling, can I grow after age 25? Just stop it. Put the phone down. When you Google that, you're accepting the facts of biology. And I'm saying facts in air quotes because when we're dealing with a law, we are dealing with energy. If you want to be tall, walk tall, feel tall. If someone asks your height, mentally tell yourself, I don't know, I've been growing so much lately, I lost track. Deny the old reality. Stop checking the mirror every 5 minutes. Stop measuring yourself. The seed is planted. Just let it grow. So let's talk about the identity shift hack. And this one is juicy. I know you guys want it all. You want the specific person, the money, the health, the looks, the career, or just the money. And sometimes it feels like juggling, right? So here's my favorite hack, the identity shift. And let's say your name is, let's go with Joe. An old Joe is broke, single, and tired. We need to create Millionaire Joe. Decide right now. You are Millionaire Joe. Now, Millionaire Joe has the girl. Millionaire Joe has the bank account. Millionaire Joe is healthy and tall and has everything he wants. You have to treat old Joe like a roommate who's moving out. He's still kind of there, lurking around in the background, packing his boxes. He might say, we're lonely. And you say, no, that's you, old Joe. I'm Millionaire Joe. And my wife is in the other room. Then every time a doubt creeps in, blame it on the old identity. Oh, that anxiety? That's just old Joe's leftovers, not mine. That bill? Old Joe's problem. Millionaire Joe always has enough. Detach from the old version. Start loving the new version. Your reality will bend like magic. Look, you're not here to suffer. You're not here to just get by. You are divine. Stop treating your life like you're just an average person hoping for a crumb. You are the baker. You own the bakery. Nothing is a coincidence. You finding this podcast? Not a coincidence. Persist like you were born for this. Persist like your ancestors are watching you right now, popping champagne, screaming, yes, she finally cracked the code. Look at her go. Get out there and claim it. I love you guys. And we'll talk to you on the next episode.
So hit play, come along, let's make it real. The Bright Path Podcast, where you dream and feel. Shine on, let's go beyond. Your best life's waiting, so come along.
Thank you so much for listening. And if this episode stirred something, I work with women learning how to stop internalizing emotionally unavailable behavior and manifesting your best life. You'll find those details in the show notes. Clarity is quiet, but wow, is it peaceful.